the unstable woman, survival mode versus the stable woman. And this has always been a point of contention for me in these spaces in particular, because I know you guys have been taught by various content creators that you can date the McDonald's worker, and as long as she's nice, then that's cool with you. It should be fine. But let me bring this up. It doesn't make sense to date the McDonald's or to marry the McDonald's worker. So the woman you choose determines the life you live. So the woman with survival mindset, financially unstable archetype, hardworking and resilient, understands struggle and survival, appreciates financial relief, often loyal when supported, financial instability, dependent on external support, higher stress lifestyle, financial pressure, decision making. And niceness does not eliminate instability. Stability eliminates unnecessary struggle. Now, I understand the premise behind guys when they say I wouldn't mind dating the McDonald's worker, because there's a stigma in these male-centric spaces that the women who have careers, they all come with attitudes. Is that fair to say? Yeah, so if a woman has a career, she tends to have some sort of an ego. She's going to shame you. She's combative. She's not going to listen, so on and so forth. But I think you guys have the majority of women who have careers, you have them misunderstood. Because the women that you guys are talking about, of course, they are easy to disqualify. But that is not the majority of women who work, in particular, Black women who work. And if you guys remember, I have the archetypes where we broke this down. I made it specific, very clear that there are two different women. There's some women that just have to work. And you guys have said this all the time. When a woman says, I pay my own bills, I pay my own car note, I got my own car, my own house. And men are quick to say, you are an adult, so you should be doing that for yourself. And I agree, right? So those women that boast about those things, those are the career boss chicks or whatever. But the women who just do that and are not openly saying, I need to do this and that, I do this on my own, I'm independent, that woman is just literally working. So when you say that you want to get with the McDonald's worker as long as she's nice, I think the logical thing would be for a man who has a significant amount of money. He can do that. Because if it ends in divorce, she has never worked a real job, and I'm pretty sure he is planning on putting that woman, in the house so she can take care of kids, right? But if all else fails and you guys do get divorced, then she's going to end up taking a lot of your ducats because she's never had any stable employment. And the reason why I say that is because you guys have seen the prenup statistics. Most reliable surveys show only about 15% of married or engaged Americans currently have a prenup. Even though support for prenups is much higher and many unmarried adults say they consider one, this means roughly 85% of people are still not getting prenups, showing a clear gap between talk versus action. Okay? Now, you hear guys talking about that all the time. Like, if I was going to get married, then I would just get a prenup. But if I'm sitting here telling you that only 15% of people, not just men, people get prenups, then what does that mean? Most guys are going into marriage blind and not control or protecting their assets. So that's why I say, if you're going to marry the McDonald's worker, you better have a lot of money, because you're going to end up paying a lot of money if you have children with that woman in particular, because she's never had stable work. Now, on the flip side, you have the financially stable woman. And to me personally, in my opinion, it is the easier route when you're dating. And I may have been spoiled because I spent 20 years in the military, in the Air Force. So most of the women that I dated were in the military and they had stable careers, right? So the dating process was very easy. You didn't, it was very rare that a woman would ever ask you to pay a bill or something like that, or asking for, $300 dates. When you date the woman who doesn't have anything, she's going to be asking for stuff that she can't afford. The women with careers, they take themselves to these restaurants by themselves or with their friends. So that's why I tell guys, you guys complain on social media about women telling you to pay bills or you got to cash at them just to talk to them. And we know the rhetoric. Women will sit there and lie and say, I got the money, I just asking because you my man. No, they're broke. Okay? So if you guys are complaining about women who keep asking you for money, my fix or my solution would be to date a woman who has a career, who is financially stable. That should be your main priority. Outside of looks, once you find out this woman is attractive, where does she work? And a woman who, you know what I'm saying, who values a relationship, she has no problem telling you, because I've heard some soft life rhetoric. If a man asks you what you do for a living, then he's trying to make you work and you're not going to be staying in the house. No, when we're in the dating process, I don't want to have to worry about you coming up short every month on your rent. And now you, the man, you know, in order to sneak in, she's going to be asking you to pay a bill. No, you spoiled the woman who was already taken care of. She already taken care of her lifestyle. Then you can add on to that. You build. But when you marry one of these women who doesn't have anything, I mean, man, it's all bad, in my opinion. But there are a lot of men who justify this. I never understood it. When I first heard the notion, I was like, man, why would you do that? You putting yourself in danger if you date that woman, because literally she has nothing to lose. And then you talk about, you know, unwanted pregnancies. You talk about STDs. Why do you think that we have outreach programs in the impoverished areas, you know, for, you know, health and STI, STD testing? Because most of the STI, STD tests cases tend to come from lower income areas. Okay. So if you get a woman who is career driven, she's focused, she's not trying to have children out of wedlock. If she's an upstanding young woman, okay? And also she's going to take care of her health, because that matters. And I put this all in my Sigma male breakdown of how I used to date. It's that simple. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but the higher likelihood of you dealing with a woman who is impoverished, yeah, it's going to be very tough, especially on the kid thing. You really think she gonna, get on birth control when she got some stable dude trying to sneak in? Okay, so I'm trying to protect you guys from situations like that. This is a part of vetting. So when I hear guys trying to, talk about this, I'm like, man, y'all know how much danger you're putting yourselves in. Okay, so I just never understood that. But let me show you the videos, because we actually discussed this, and I did the archetype breakdown, if you guys remember.
I learned early not to rely on anyone. I pay my own bills. I solve my own problems. I don't ask for help, because help never came when I needed it. Independence wasn't a choice. It was survival.
I'm resilient. I adapt quickly. I don't crumble under pressure. I protect myself emotionally and financially. I don't tolerate instability. I can stand alone, and that strength has carried me far.
But independence can harden into armor. I struggle to receive. I question leadership. I mistake control for safety. Men don't feel needed. They feel unnecessary. And without polarity, attraction fades.
The solution isn't becoming dependent. It's learning interdependence, choosing strength without shutting out support. I align best with secure men who lead without dominance. Softness doesn't erase my power. It expands it.
None of that sounded attractive, right? So that is a hyper independent woman. That is a woman that's screaming from the mountaintops on social media, I got my own car, I got my own house, I pay my own bills, I don't need a man for anything. Nobody wants to be with that woman. Fair? So let's see the woman who just simply works.
Your first Black woman. I did what I was told to do. I focused on school, then my career. I told myself love would come later. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't reckless. I was preparing for a future I believed would wait for me.
I'm disciplined, financially stable. I can take care of myself. I don't bring chaos into rooms. I plan, I build, I solve problems. In every other area of life, that works. I assumed dating worked the same way.
But dating didn't reward my resume. Men didn't respond to my accomplishments the way I expected. I delayed connection while I built security. And when I looked up, the dating market had changed. Not because I failed, but because time never stops moving.
I don't need to shrink. I don't need to abandon ambition. I need integration. Building love while building success. Softness alongside strength. I align best with men who value stability, not competition. Awareness changes outcomes.
All right. So there are the two. So you see the difference. And I think rest in peace, Kevin Samuels, he did an amazing job of showcasing the lie that a lot of Black women were told, like the career woman, right? She was saying that I was told to go, for my education, get a career, and then everything will work out. But soon she found out that it's not the same when you talk about dating. Your career, it matters, but in the dating market, you have to be a little bit more intentional. So she was sold that lie from the Black community that eventually it would all work out. But we shortly found out that that's not true. So she's still out there working, making her way, financially stable, doing what she needs to do. Now she's just looking for a husband. I think, in my opinion, that woman would be a woman that you guys will want to settle down with, because she's going to be older. You're going to be older. And the reason why I'm saying that is, in the Black community, before anybody starts talking, Black men, their first marriage is 33 years old. Black women's 32 years old. So by that time, y'all, if you went to college, you're out of college, or if you picked up a trade, you good to go. And then, between 30, 35, that's when you should start trying to settle down, so to speak, in my opinion, right? So yeah, so there is a huge difference.